if you've already done that, great. But now hone it down to what do you want to do? Start taking action towards that thing. And that's when you'll get even more clarity. And then it kind of, the hourglass, wheels and hourglasses, it comes out and then you have more opportunity, right? So, and it turns into more and more, but that's in like an action sense versus the top is like the learning. But most people are probably in that. You do want to keep learning because it's motivating. But I mean, we would have been way better off, way faster if we had all the education and information that we have now, like back when I started. Initially, you got to take that action. You got to learn, you got to go through those motions, and I could go into this more depth. But ultimately, what you want is you want a very basic process or set of processes that for every dollar you spend or every hour you put in, you get a multiple of that back. And you can do that on repeat, right? So for example, I mean, our podcast, Millionaire University, when we started Millionaire University, and we still have plans for Millionaire University, but those plans do not supersede, once again, the family, right? We have our non-negotiables.
Yes.
So while I had a vision at one point, and it's still there, to make Millionaire University this household name and change the education system and become $1 billion business, which would be a natural result of the goals we have, that ambition does not supersede the needs that my family sometimes come up last minute. My son's getting married. Oh, okay. And, spending time with my wife and things like that. But what we have created with Millionaire University is a business that Tara and I can put 20, 30 hours a week into if we want.
Okay.
Or we can put no time into in a week if we want. It runs without us. Like you mentioned Brian, right? Brian does interviews for Millionaire University. It's really easy to see in other people when you could tell someone's just struggling. And I think our society has become a lot more aware. No one that I know really well, like some people appear a certain way, but I think it's only because I don't know them well. I think we're human beings. Like we struggle with mental health. We all, like, maybe not always, but it's something that like sometimes we just feel off. We don't feel great. And you want to constantly be trying to figure out why that is. But I think it was something that was always like underlying occasionally a little anxiety. I mean, you got kids, you got struggles, you got all these different things you're working on. But once again, I think before it was the just put your head down, get to work, focus on making the money. And once we get there, like we'll be good. And so you think you know the answer to your problem. And once that is no longer an answer, I think that was one component. But then also thinking like, okay, like what am I doing now with my time? Like I didn't have the same purpose.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, it's time I played pickleball for a couple months for like 4 hours a day. But then after that got old and going to the beach.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, now I'm gonna like just serve. I'm gonna fill my time with service. The problem with that is I ended up doing all the things that I had spent years figuring out how to get other people to do. We think we can do more in a year than we can, but we can do more in 5 years than we think we can, right? And I think that's kind of what it comes down to. Like at the beginning, it's like the compound effect, right? Like when you're starting out, you know nothing, you have no connections, you have no money, and then these little things, if you keep taking the small actions day by day, putting in the work, learning the things, they build. You're building skills, soft skills, hard skills, you're acquiring knowledge. And if you continue in that just constant forward momentum, all these things, tangible and intangible, start to like be put together until you eventually reach that, as they call it, exponential growth, right? And that can mean lots of things. It could be financially, it could be physically, it could be in your relationships, but it can also go the other way.
Yeah.
If you don't keep having that optimism and keep moving forward in those things, right? So yeah.
Here's what I heard. I heard a quote in audience. I hope you're listening because I believe this is going to apply to 90% of the people out there, 90% plus. As long as you put in the work every day, you're going to get there.
So I was going to move forward because I had this risk mitigation strategy. And then to layer on top of that, to do even more, we started to get JV partners, which means people who were experienced in real estate, who had deep pockets, that saw the returns that we were able to show them. We're like, hey, we're making like 50, 60% annualized return on this money. If you provide the money, we'll give you half the profit. And they're like, okay, 25 to 30% annualized return. You have a track record, works for me. We no longer had any risk. We had the money taken care of. We were still doing the same strategy because their money was as important to us to take care of as our money. But it just allowed us to keep moving forward to the point where we were flipping 100 houses a year, not seeing them. And that risk mitigation strategy is in place. And what I will say is we spent a lot of money in a lot of businesses and we've lost money in different things, but there's a lot of businesses that you can start that take zero to very little money. So as long as you're approaching it that way, like you cannot lose money that you don't spend.